You can look at a child when he sits in a computer game. I mean, I have driven, for example, sports cars all my life. I like sports cars. I drive very fast and all that. And then when I come and get a racing game on the screen, on a PC or something, I sit with my daughter, and I'm sitting there, and she tells me, look, Daddy, show me how you can drive. She goes like this, you know, and I'm crashing everywhere on the screen. Because their mind is already working differently than ours. You notice that very much in little things. And then you notice if I move at her pace, the game is not fun anymore. I'm starting to get stressed. But you find them going at very, very quick paces and doing things like that and very happy about it and something like that. And they can speak to you and then go back and all that. And it's already, you notice, if you look at this, you notice already a shift more into the left brain perception. Now this shift makes you the I, then it makes you want things for yourself. The we, you want our prosperity. You see? You speak, you read in management, we have to speak, teach people something as if it's something new that we invented, a win-win situation, or integrity towards others, or things like that. I mean, it isn't nothing new, but it doesn't exist. When the I is there, finish, the others are out. Now you have to teach the I a win-win situation. You can teach it, but I mean, it's still the big win here and the small win there. It will never be a win-win, you see, because we're changing complete. So this is this left brain that makes a very strong I. Then Jung spoke about an emerging minority, and he called that contemporary man. Contemporary man is somebody now who, although he feels that the I became so strong that it is even denying the subconscious as another entity. I mean, it's not accepting even a subconscious. So now the contemporary man is somebody who starts to look inside. That means he opens the door. He wants to see what's inside that room. I'm not going to listen to belief systems. If you have a belief system that you're, instead of telling me to believe, take my hand and open the door for me and let me see. You see? So open my eyes and let me see. Don't keep telling me. I don't need an intermediate. And this form of humanity. And you here are such an example. You wouldn't be here in first place discussing qualitative if you didn't feel this unity with something bigger, and if you weren't feeling the feeling that we come here, Ibrahim, because we want you to take us there. We don't want you to tell us about it. Tell us about it, this is finished. We don't accept people telling us about things. We want to go in there with you. Now this is contemporary man. He's trying to look in there. I had one from my part, another type of man, and that's the future of mankind. The future of mankind is, after you've seen what's there, you play an active role, a wisdom role in rebalancing both aspects, rebalancing all the imbalance that has been caused. Then this future man is an active person, not in this room, but he's active in both rooms, not just wanting to look in there.
So you go back
on a much higher level, because you are now. How do I? It's not I go back in there. I have now modern technology. Now modern technology is so complex but so advanced. Now imagine if I take the world of modern technology and actually link it to the laws of the universe instead of fighting against it. This is what you're here for, to do that. And we want the designer to have a tool in his hand that I can actually design balance into modern technology. I can make modern technology human-friendly again by linking it to the other side. So this future man, what we're building here, is somebody who wants to change the world, actually. Change the world of modern technology, not fight against it. You can't fight against it. I mean, you tell me, okay, would you sacrifice your computer and your cellular phone and all that? How? Even if you see, if you go to the Mormons and say, okay, we respect them very much because at least they have certain beliefs and they stick to them. Okay, very good. We won't have gods, won't have electricity, won't have that, won't have television. We stick to a natural way of life. What they don't know is that the information age, that the waves are just penetrating them as much as they're penetrating us. You see, if I have my mobile phone and I'm speaking on it, I'm receiving one call. You say, oh, this is unhealthy, I don't even use a phone. Okay, but both of us have 1 million calls going through our bodies at this moment. Because it's like when you can receive any one of the 1 million calls by any phone here, means that they are all here. Otherwise, you won't be able to receive them. It means that they are all going through your bodies. You see? So, today, we not only have polluted our modern world, but we have polluted the whole Earth atmosphere. So, the Earth being, as a being, is becoming sick. And this is dangerous. When we go into the living energies, it's very dangerous because I have millions of bacteria here on my skin. Each one is doing a certain job towards caring of my skin. Now, if they start sleeping and playing around or doing the wrong things, I will feel maybe an itch or something. So I will do this. If I scratch, there goes 1 million. Another scratch, there goes another 2 million. I'm killing millions of them just by scratching because they're not doing their job here or they're disturbing. So the Earth slaps back. It's very easy. When you sit here, you know, and you sit somewhere and you have a huge guy sitting beside you, you know, you're very polite. you respect because, yeah, you see, you're very polite. Okay. But you are here with a huge being, which is the Earth, and you don't pay any respects. All what you do is disturb. Well, this huge being is like he feels something here because it's like that. I feel something here. I scratch here. You have a problem here. You have a problem there. Okay. The Earth slaps back very easily. But when it slaps hard. And we should know that we are not completely isolated from any huge catastrophe that could come in the Earth. It might be its way of slapping, because if you have something on the surface of your hand that's really disturbing you, at the end, if you scratch twice, you'll go and wash your hand and get it, or put a cream and get rid of it completely, you know. So it's species like us on the Earth's surface. I mean, why not get rid of it? But its way of getting rid of it, it's the species will get rid of its own self. It's in such a way. And that's why, that's the role of future man now. Future man, we are here to change all that. Now, we are going to see what, if we are thinking of qualities and we want to measure qualities. If I am measuring with my normal quantitative measurements, hertz, frequencies, or whatever it is, they are just telling me a number, a quantitative, whether it's speed, whether it's height, whether it's something, but not much more. But let's say I use something from the qualitative scales, like when I say the word beautiful, or when I say the color red. If I use any of those subjective things, it means much more, because in a quality you cannot put a number. A qualitative scale is a scale of description of an effect. So in a musical note, in the level of the instrument, you see, in the level of the instrument here, I have, let's say, the D or the C or what I have as a note. But now I have to differentiate between two things. Or I have the color red or blue or something. I have to differentiate between two things, and that's very, very important. There's a difference between the thing itself, whether it's the color or the note, and the quality of its effect on me. So we are going to speak now, when we speak about qualitative scales, I mean not the thing itself, not the red color, but the red quality. So when I speak red quality, I don't mean the red color. I mean the effect of the red color on my energy system. You see? Now, once I take that, but I know that the effect of the red color on my energy system is repeatable. So I can use it beyond the color scale and forget the color itself. And I use the effect of the red color. So now we want to look at qualities. In order to look at qualities, I'll help you a bit with a very simple key. This is a very simple key, but the most important key you will need to know about understanding energies, because it will explain all the qualities. Designers will need it, healers will need it, everybody will need this key. And it is so simple that you will even believe how simple that is. This E is quality of energy. So let's take, if something moves this way, anything moves like that, I blow or any water moves, any motion. Now, what will happen here? When it moves that way, something will turn this way here, and this will turn that way. See? When you move in air, when you move in anything, automatically friction will make this go this way and this go this way. It's like causing this rotation here and this rotation here. So you have here, in any energy situation, this is your energy key. In any energy situation, you have situation number one. Here is where energy coming at you. You can call that an getting energy or something. This is a quality. Now, if you're standing here, this would be a different quality than this. So standing at both ends of a current, it makes a difference whether it's going away from you or whether it's coming at you. And then here, when it turns, you're making a rotation like this. This clockwise rotation like this makes an expansion of energy. It's like a vortex coming up, expansion of energy. And this one like this makes energy go down like that. Now, this would be the energy key. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the most important energy key that you can ever think of. Now, we will use it in a two-dimensional form on this level of our studies. On advanced levels, we can take it, you see, into, if something moves like this and this moves like this, in a three-dimensional form, it will be like a donut, you know. something like this, so, and you'd have something going up like this, and the energy, this is on a three-dimensional level, you would have like a sort of a donut, like that. But we will take it on that level. But you must know, in reality, it's like that. Now, I'll give you an example here. I have 4 qualities here. Now, in ancient Egypt, I always go back to Egypt, huh? I must be homesick. I've been too long traveling around. Okay. We have the Nile River that flows this way. It's going from south to north like that. We have the Nile River. We have, in any flow, this would be to its right, to the right of the flow, and this would be to the left of the flow. Now, the ancient Egyptians always built everything to do with the living on that side, because this was the site for prosperity, the site for growth, the site for everything. You see, the vortex, the positive is going up here. And everything for the dead on that side. That's when the energy goes down. So here you have energy of growth, and here the energy. It's not growth and decay, it's transformation. But you must know, something goes like this and something goes like this. This is the most important key. So now, there are so many systems. How do I describe such a key? Here. I used, in order to have a scale, the scale must be using descriptions. I can't use, I describe this energy quality, I describe this energy quality, describe here, you see? So a scale of quality must be descriptive. It must give a holistic idea. It's not just a measurement. It's a much bigger thing, and these are the scales of quality. I'll stop now, and when he changes the tape, I'll give you an example for this scale. Sort of a cycle. So this one, it's like in the Chinese, this would be the one cycle of growth, and this would be one cycle of destruction. But the word destructive cycle doesn't, don't want to take words from certain places. First we want to take it into very general. And then we can discuss now, apply this to the human body, apply this to Feng Shui, we can apply this, but this is very simple, and with it you can solve any energy concept that deals with quality. You just have to find, where do I place my qualities here? And I'm developing a small pendular instrument like that has actually different scales of all the qualities in it. So for example, you can measure on somebody's hand the resonance, and you would know the planetary influences, for example, in his body, each one how much it's there. And then you can have there's another scale of numbers, and you could actually know which numbers are needed for the body, or which number is in tune of, or which number is weak. And beside it, there's an emitter in which you can emit through the emitter whatever the planetary influence or the number, or it's a very complex one, and we're working on it. We are putting every kind of scale, qualitative scale, into this thing. But to put it, it's so difficult, because I have to know, if you want to make a scale of numbers, okay, where does the quality of one, not the quantity of one, or the quality of 2 or 3, where does it fit here energy-wise? So it's not that easy.
Because you're talking about developing something that goes on the physical body, right?
No, not on the physical. It doesn't measure on the physical. We don't have, in harmonics, there is no physical and no. In harmonics, whatever you measure, you cannot tell where you're measuring it.
Right.
And we have developed a sort of a geometry of the planes. certain geometrical shapes that are more in tune with every plane. And with the pendulum, if you want to concentrate your research on the emotional and try to avoid the rest, you want to make your instrument more sensitive there. So you'll put a certain shape, you attach it. The shape that makes it more in tune will pull it more towards the emotional. But in reality, they're all linked together by harmonics. But the instrument we're developing on this basis, the thing that's taking a huge amount of time is every scale that we put on that instrument, you have to take this and find where does this thing, let's say, it could be herbal remedies, it could be homeopathy, it could be anything. Where does it fit exactly into this diagram? And where does it fit is not by philosophy that you would say I put this color here because it's color of growth and this color, no, it doesn't go that way. We have to do analysis, measurements and everything because every substance radiates certain energies. Every substance has an energy field around it and then it has a certain radiation shooting out of it in a certain direction in the earth. We have to find those radiations and bring them and see where they fit here, and then we can place everything. So it's taking some time. This will be, the instruments with which you measure all that will be, let's say, when we have them ready in a year's time or something, this will be part of an advanced course. Then when we go through all our courses, we enter into this. But you could use the instrument, for example, to see if you're an airy sign or an earthly sign or that, just see where you are, what type of energy do you resonate with, and things like that. It fits everything into the key. Are we working or are we? Yeah. So now, if I have here, let's say, qualities. Let's take examples. What could those qualities be? Now, in ancient medicine, you find the people using different ways of speaking about the body, of speaking about nutrition, of speaking about healing than the modern ways, you know. And sometimes you hear people saying, oh, in ancient time they used to speak about, for example, wet and dry, or they used to say fiery and watery, or things like that. These were old ways of describing states of the body, but now, of course, because they didn't have the laboratories and analysis and all that, now we can't speak about 4 states of the body, and we go into detailed measurements because these were not adequate. I mean, they were speaking about qualitative, you see. So here, if you take, for example, any motion of energy, you have here the 4 qualities. Now, people here who work in Feng Shui, sometimes you wonder why are all those systems, or why do they seem controversial? Why somebody arranges, the Bagua arranges the colors or the elements according to the north-south, the compass, the other one arranges them according to the door of the room. And then if every room is different. Now, we should look at this. Every movement of energy creates 4 qualities. Now, the first movement of energy that we know of is north-south. You see, we know the compass directions. So automatically the compass directions creates the 4 qualities. This is automatic. But at the same time, let's take what other movements of energy can be there. I open the door of a room. From the door of a room, this is where, when I open it, this is where the air would come in. This is where the energy flows into the room. So the door of the room would have another key like this. So actually, you would have one like this for the door of the room. You'd have one like this, another one for the compass directions. Because nothing, it's not that simple. They can be superimposed and they're both right. Now you have the window there, and you have light. Now, light going in there creates the four qualities again, to its right, to its left, front, and back. So, but this doesn't exist yet, the light school in Feng Shui, but I mean, you can create your own schools. Any motion of energy creates the four qualities. Let's say an air conditioning vent here would create the four qualities automatically. An electrical conductor, or a pipe, or sewage thing going anywhere would automatically create the key here. So you see, now don't, instead of when we get mixed up about the system that people are doing, we go back on the energy level and we say any motion of energy creates that. In my body, I have two motions of energy. Any central motion of energy along the spine will create the right and the left. And that's why people in ancient times, they used to say, for example, when we say you're right, why are you right? Why is right associated with right? Or people of the right, you know, in ancient things. And people of the left, it shows you like two, they're speaking about two qualities. But then you have energy coming up, but we know in our bodies that there's energy coming up and the energy coming down. So you could have a system in the body where this key goes like this, like that, and you have another system when the key goes like that. There's a system at day and there's a system at night. And then you could, this right and left means again putting this horizontally because you have polarity, so you have your own north-south axis. So you have again the key in this direction, and you can analyze yourself the qualities in the body with the keys. Now, how do I interact that? I can easily find the problem, and maybe this problem, by analyzing the key, all I have to do is a hand motion or something to balance. Once we know how the key works, it's very easy to balance. To understand it, just look at it like that as four qualities. Now, what if I wanted to explain those four qualities? Now, how would I put a scale here? I want to say it has to be qualitative, has to be an explanation, something. So if I say, for example, in this area where energy is expensive, it's, let's say, growth or something. So if somebody comes and says, okay, I'll call that like a plant coming up, I can call that, or I can call it wood, or I can call it, you see? So a qualitative scale is you put a description. So where do you take the description? You don't invent one, you take it from nature. So you take it from nature. And like a Chinese would look at it in a way, he would say wood, and then the relationship of the fire to the wood, you see. So I would put, if this is the north and this is the south, I would put, let's say, a fire, a wood here, a fire here, a metal here. You know, you can place it. It's just he's describing what's happening in the key. Now, the Arab scientists would go in a different way. They would say you have the four. I mean, what? Maybe they were mostly desert people there. They wouldn't have so much in their way of describing things. They wouldn't have, let's say, wood, they didn't have forest, or they would say metal and all that. Maybe, what would they say? They understood humidity. They understood dryness. They understood cold. They understood warm. They understood, I mean, it's the things that they understood. So they take the four qualities. And then they tell you, now, you balance, if it's nutrition, if it's health, whatever they're speaking about in any science, it's the balance of those elements. So those elements then, irrelevant of what you choose, depending on your schools, and every school has different, but I could just go around like that and ask you, and there would be probably 20 different scales here. So, okay, everybody who can think of a scale, then raise your hand and give it to me. Let's see how you... First, we start with the Feng Shui people. Yeah?
Sorry, my mind was wandering.
You have the 4. I want to put a scale here. Well, this is your bagua. In Feng Shui, it would be your bagua.
With the elements, the 5 elements inside.
Okay? Or you can place the colors if you want. So in Feng Shui, you would have, what would you put to my right?
The wood
Okay, or the green,
or the green.
something like this. When you say that, now you know when you say, I put the green here, you know why?
That's what I was doing.
Yes, you know why you're saying green here, not because an ancient Chinese tradition tells you that green should go there. You see? And then maybe you see that light, this is a big window, and light comes in here. So you say, no, I'll put the green here. Somebody else says, no, but I'm a black hat sect, you know, the door comes this way. No, I'll put the green here. And then somebody said, no, the north, I'll put the green here. They are all superimposed keys. Actually, in a room like that, you might have 10 keys superimposed. At the end, the trick with biogeometry is to balance the 10 keys with one final key that sort of balances all. But you should be able to call those by any names you want. Now, let's say you don't want to use any Chinese or any colors or something like that. You want just to call them names. Then you use descriptions. What would you use as a description for this? Instead of green, or let's say wood, something to do with growth, what would you use as a word? You invent your own system, what would you use? Okay. What would you use here when energy coming at you? Or here energy going away from you? Or here energy going down? I mean, you see, when you explain things, maybe in order to really digest something, you don't have to stick to any scale. You understand it and you have 1,000 words for it. So, and that's how you can explain it, you see. So if I tell you, give me 10 words for this. Okay, I want 10 words.
Prosperity.
Prosperity, okay.
Energizing.
Energy, okay. But remember, there's a here and here. But okay, here the vortex is coming this way. Okay, this is energizing. Another, we have 2 now. I'm still missing 8.
Female.
What?
Female.
Could be, yes. Female is looking at an aspect of female. Reproduction, growth, continuance of life, and all that.
Sun and moon for negative.
Okay? Sun, moon, looking at certain aspects of sun and moon. But remember, in description, you are, the word you use is a general holistic thing. That means you're describing sun because of the plants of growth and all that. Okay, something else. We're now missing 6. They said expansion. Come on, find something. Something from Argentina. Come on. What?
Seeds. I don't know, something that grows. Grow.
Growth? Yeah, the word grow, something that grows. Okay, you can say grow. Okay. Something else?
Happiness.
Happiness, okay. Happiness is related to an expansion of energy usually, okay.
Also, like us versus we versus I.
Maybe. It could be a path of knowledge, because your growth of knowledge could be a path. Wisdom, I wouldn't call it, remember what I said before? Wisdom would be the final balance of the 4. This is beyond our means. This we ask for. We can only do intellect. So we take each one separate. Come on, I'm missing 5 names now. High note and low note. Okay, this is, the note is getting higher, and here the note sound is getting lower. Okay,
Beginning and end.
beginning and end. Okay, beginning and end. The quality. Well, if you get to soft, you could apply soft here and soft here. It depends. The growth at a certain spot here, you'd have it strong. At a certain, then here it would be softer. So you could apply soft to growth. And you could also apply soft to the other side. So something like soft might fit in two things.
Can you say warm and cold?
You could say warm and cold. You could say here warm, cold. Because you associate, you could say day and night, because you associate warmth with life, cold.
Strength of
Loudness and
weakness.
quiet.
What? Loudness?
And quiet.
Okay. Loudness associated with motion and life and all that, and quiet associated with the other world. Okay.
Strength and weakness.
Strength and weakness. Okay, because this is going up would be strength and this would be weakness.
You will exercise on one side and cheat on the other.
Okay. That means what? That means that in reality, I want you to feel those things. Now, when I walk that way, I'm just walking now, okay? Will there be an energy effect here and an energy effect here? Okay. Okay, but then I come back. You don't want me to keep going out and not come back. I have to come back sometime, okay? No, but this, even emotion, even going like this, when you're to my right is different than when you're to my left, and then when I go this. So you should be,
You're actually getting both.
yes, everything, you know, qualities, that means all of a sudden you are sensitive to everything now. Because the key, look at this room, and there may be, beside the main keys, you could have hundreds of little secondary keys. Whether you're writing, am I putting this to my right, putting this to my left, doing this? I mean, very small things like that. Even, let's say, when you're eating, put your plate in front of you. You've arranged things on it. There are qualities in the food. You could turn your plate until it fits the key. And I'll show you how to measure that. If you do that, if something in that plate is too heavy, brings you allergy or whatever it is, you'll eat that plate. Once you adjust it like that, you'll feel as if it's a meal it's so light, it's so refreshing, because you just balanced it. So I want you to, this should be, you feel the universe and the motion of energy. It applies to everything here. It even applies to the expansion of the universe, how it all began and how it all ends. Because if it's expanding, that means there's a motion of energy. If there's a motion of energy in the expansion, that means that there are the qualities, you see. So, and what happens when the universe is expanding? You start, you go somewhere, and you come back at the end, you see. There's a continuous, at the universe expand, a continuous arising and a continuous going in, a continuous arising. You can imagine this, say, okay, this is where life emerges and this is where life ends. It's like a black hole here. This is where energy gets sucked in, interacts, and new life emerges, or whatever, you see. This is your key. It's very important to understand that any motion produces four qualities around it. You can apply it to anything, to a thought. You can put thoughts here, you can emotions here, anything. And I want you to have this as your basic concept in anything, how you feel it. And maybe once we have those instruments ready by next year, you will find out how they open a new world to you. Yes?
So this is really more of a balancing out.
It
This
is.
key is really about balance.
Well, it's balance Balance if you manage to work with it properly.
Right.
But let us say here, there's a room, and okay, a square room like this, and then the door is here. Now the energy coming in like this. This side of the key will be restricted, and this will have so you see, so any door that's not in the center of the room will create a key imbalance. And will have to be corrected. We have to find ways of correcting it. So it's very important to understand the concept of, very simple, that whenever there is a flow, it creates a quality to its right and the quality to its left, quality towards where you're going, quality towards where you're leaving. It's very simple. Okay, any questions about that?
It's similar to the yin and yang concept.
Yin and yang
Yeah.
would be they would fit around the key. You could take the 64 trigrams and look and place them as a more detailed and find them where they fit in there. You see? The thing is, I want you to, once you know this simple concept, you go into whatever you're studying. Go into there and come out with something new. After you do the 3 days of radiesthesia, you should be able to measure all those things. But what I want you to understand first is that a scale of quality is descriptive, it is repetitive, and it is unlimited. It goes from the smallest to the biggest.
What was the next you said?
It goes from the smallest to the biggest. I mean, to infinity, the smallest to the biggest. There is no, it's unlimited, totally unlimited. You know, in ancient Egypt, the nature god of wisdom was called Tahuti or Thoth, or in the Greek they called him Hermes. In the emerald tablet, they were saying what's above is like what's below. This shows you that in the atom, you have the whole universe. Now, people were thinking that we're speaking about this just shapes of things. No. Every similar motion is in communication with everything that's similar in the universe. So the atom itself, you have the center, and this center, you have the nucleus, protons and neutrons and all that, and then you have around it all the electrons in different numbers. So it's like a small universe. Now, this small universe is in resonance with all the universes, because there are multiple ones, visible and invisible, because we speak about the invisible, I say universes, there are many invisible ones, and it will pulsate and change with the relationship to all of them together. So every little thing feels, so the atom feels what's happening there. You tell me, how come the atom feels? How can atom feel something? If we go and speak about creation, how in the beginning, they say in the beginning there was a Big Bang. A Big Bang would mean duality, something that has split things into positive and negative. Okay, when you split two things in positive and negative charges, like a stone falling in water, the wave goes up and down. The natural tendency is after a bit to go back again. You see? Or the positive and the negative. If they come too close, they'll cancel each other. If they don't interact, they'll go away. Okay? So it can't be just a Big Bang. See, it can't be just a Big Bang, because Big Bang means you've created duality. Duality will cancel itself very quickly. Okay, what happened? How come we're still here? That means there is something else than the Big Bang. It means there is a law, a secondary impulse with the first one. There are two impulses, not one. Duality plus a law of motion that takes the positive and the negative, turns them so they don't get too near or too far. And those two little things, in comparison to the circle, it's like having an orange here and another orange in California. And one is turning around the other so quickly that wherever you come and you put your hand, you'll always feel an orange. So you get a mega orange twice the size from here to California. But what's the constituents of that orange? The constituents. Can you say oranges? Can't you? Can't be, because oranges are not even 0.01% of the mega orange. It's really negligible, the size of the oranges to the whole orange. So what is the whole orange made of? This huge thing, what is it made of? Well, energy, yes. Motion. It's motion. Okay, but let's see what kind of motion. I mean, motion could be, the concept I want you just to change the idea of motion from one to the other and look at it as resonance. Let's say I have a lot of energy. You have little energy. I do healing on you at a distance. All of a sudden you have more energy and I lost energy. So I would tend to think that I gave you energy. In reality, no. In reality, we entered into resonance. And both of us ended up in a certain level of energy. If my level through the resonance is less than what I had, I have given this extra to my surroundings. If what you got is more than what you had in the resonance, you've taken it from your surroundings through the resonance, you see. Because otherwise, the process would be too slow. When we do healing at a distance, it doesn't take time, you see. That means it can't be a flow, because we know that nothing moves more than the speed of light. So if I'm starting to diagnose or do healing at a distance between here, let's say, and China, so every aspect, every measurement I will do would take, let's say, 2-3 minutes to go and come, but it doesn't happen. It's instantaneous. That means we're using something that is not using linear transmission. It's a different thing. In Germany, about 4 years ago, I saw in Basel, there was an institute who were using what they call a brain tracer, and they had a person in the south of Germany and a person in the north of Germany. And today, of course, you can hook them to computers to one, I don't know, thousandths of a second or what, and you hook them to a computer, and then they would ask one of them to look at the picture of the other. Now, the moment they speak about different things, and then all of a sudden, while they're speaking, they show the picture of the other guy, and they notice that a change of brain wave happens on the receiver on the other side, but the same change in brainwave happens to this one. So it can't be sending because it happened to this one. Now the most interesting is this has been done so many times, but the new thing here is that the computer didn't record any time interval at all. They happened instantly. They couldn't to 1,000th of a second. There's no way that any waveform could have traveled between both. So they said, okay, something is different. So they started calling them by different names, like a psi field or things like that, that there are different ways that we react, like in, now they're starting to think like in quantum physics, where something could be moving here, and at the same time something could be moving at the other end of the universe with totally unrelated, you can't find any cause and effect relationship, and no time lapse. So here is something, resonance here doesn't follow time and space. And that's the nice thing about it now. When we look at those things, the nice thing about resonance is that if it does not follow time and space, and why I'm saying we are going to take resonance in qualitative measurement instead of sending and receiving, because in the normal sense of energy interaction or energy healing, if energy moves from one place to the other, it cannot. How can I move energy? The word move means related to time and space, means it has to go forward in time and space. You cannot have something moving back in time and space. You see? So you cannot have an energy now. I cannot project energy now to 10 years ago. So, but we know that in resonance, I can actually, the moment I connect to something 10 years ago, its effect will be there. Of course, nobody's here today to tell you that, but you can imagine a scenario like that. We look, for example, at a battle that Ramses the Great was doing, and he was wounded in battle. And so we connect to this time, and then we perform healing on him. And then we might go back into historical papers and find that it's going to say that Ramses was mortally wounded, and then he recovered miraculously. His doctors said that he had a miraculous recovering by the help of his doctors. Now, his doctors then wouldn't know that they got help from the future, from 3,000 years later, that they were getting help from somebody who was just trying to prove to a group that you could go backwards in time. But then, 3,000 years ago, the effect is already there, because on a certain level in resonance, you're beyond time and space. So imagine the beauty of building a science or qualitative physics, where now time and space are irrelevant to us. We can become everything. Communication for us is becoming. It is not communicating with. Because the moment, you see, if one of you, all you healers know that, the moment you connect, even at a distance, even if you don't tell me, I can check your body. The moment you connect, I'll see differences. I'll see the pattern of that person on the other side. I'll see the pattern here. And I will know then, when you're connected, that means you're one with the other person. And we do that sometimes a lot in healing. Somebody tells me, can you prepare, see what biosignatures I want to put on my medal, let's say, and somebody's here and he says, I want it for my husband, but he didn't come with me. Can you prepare one for him? So all I would say, okay, just think of him. I check first, and then I would think and check again. When I check for the second time, I must find the differences. But if it's her husband, if it's a different sex, then it's easy. I check for an organ of the other sex. And if I find the organ of the opposite sex, if I find it, that means we're in tune. So if a lady is here and I should find, let's say, I can check for a prostate on her. Of course, I don't know. She can't have a prostate. But if I find it, that means he is here now, not she. She is not here, the husband's here. So we can check and add all the biosignatures and all that, and then do whatever we want to do. So you see, So here, it's actually becoming. She can become him anytime. You can actually become anything. If I want to check the mineral contents of Mars, it's very easy. You get a picture of Mars and you keep looking at it while I check the energy field of your body. And I get the different metals and try resonance with each of them. And everyone that resonates with your body is up there. You see? But here, there are some tricky things, because there are some things that exist in your body already and might not exist there. But the interesting thing, if you get things that you know don't exist in your body and you find them there, then you're discovering new things. But you see, it's a very nice thing that you know that you are not bound by time and space in whatever you want to do. It's a fantastic thing. Imagine that you have a physics that is beyond time and space, can go forwards in time, can go backwards in time, is not limited by any speed, is not limited by anything. You want to know something, you become that thing. I mean, it's wonderful, isn't it? But then we're going to go when we go into the first day of radiesthesia, we are going to go into the mystical aspects of all that in detail. Because when you become something, now it's not a game here, you see. You don't want to pollute the thing that you are actually in tune with. When you become one with the universe, we want you to balance it, not to disrupt it. That means we have to change your energy system before you can do that. How do I change mine? First of all, you might be very good on the conscious level, but you might have so many things on the subconscious level that could cause problems if thrown out to another energy system that is sensitive to this aspect. So the first thing is unclogging all your energy system. Now I'm going to tell you something, and it's very important that you listen to that, but I would advise you one thing. For the next 2 minutes, you just put your finger in your ears. Don't listen to me. Because if you listen to me, your responsibility might be too much. So if you're not ready for it, just put your finger in your ear and don't listen at all to what I'm saying. If you listen to me, that's your problem, okay? I mean, I will. Okay. Now, yeah, usually we think that we are responsible for what we do. And that's normal, okay? But now that you know what resonance is, you are responsible for what you see. You are responsible for what you hear. You see, when you look at a tree, there is resonance. Now you are responsible for the energy field of that tree. You see? So you are responsible for everything you see. Now you tell me, what about hearing? Why do you say I'm responsible for what I hear? I mean, I speak, you hear me, now you're responsible? Yes, of course, because when you hear me, that means you're in resonance with me. Forget about the thing that energy is going out and you hear it. No, you're in resonance with me. So that means by hearing me, you're changing me. At the same time, you see? So you're responsible to what is happening to me. Now, when you know that, your responsibility now is so great that whatever you see, whatever you hear, you're responsible for everything around you. You're responsible for the reality that you perceive. You carry a responsibility. Now, you made a mistake. I told you, put your fingers in your ears. You didn't want. Now your responsibility is there. See? But now that you're aware of it, it was always there on the energy level, but now that you're aware of it, it is really 10 times greater, because now you know it. You see? So we will have to correct our energy systems first before we do any qualitative work and before we do resonance. We have to change our system first. But there are ways of doing that. Okay, now I think we continue, huh? Okay. Now, let us take one aspect that we were speaking about later when we were speaking about qualities. When we interact with things around us, we have to look at how we interact, because we must understand that although we're speaking about resonance, but the waves traveling or reflected or something from one thing to the other cause such resonance. So we must know, first of all, what happens with all those waves around us, media waves and all those things, what's happening with them. Now,